We are constantly being monitored by the government, companies, and services, which use this valuable information for a variety of purposes. One example of this is the Cambridge Analytica data scandal, which was a major political scandal in early 2018 when it was revealed that Cambridge Analytica had harvested the personal data of millions of people's Facebook profiles without their consent and used it for political advertising purposes. This is one famous case when a popular social network sold private information. Facebook illegally sold the data of 50 million users to Cambridge Analytica. You or someone you know may be a victim of cybercrime in your lifetime. The malicious association with hacking became evident in the 1970s when early computerized phone systems became a target. They discovered ways to change certain functions without re-engineering the entire device. Individuals who are savvy with technology, also called phreakers, discovered the correct codes and tones that would result in free long-distance services. They impersonated operators and dug through the garbage of Bell Telephone Company to find secret information, and performed countless experiments on early telephone hardware in order to learn to exploit the system. They were hackers in every sense of the word, using their resourcefulness to modify hardware and software to steal long-distance telephone time. This innovative type of crime was a difficult issue for law enforcement, due in part to lack of legislation to aid in criminal prosecution, and a shortage of investigators skilled in the technology that was being hacked. It was clear that computer systems were open to criminal activity, and as more complex communications became available to the consumer, more opportunities for cybercrime developed. The definition of a cyber attack is any type of offensive maneuver that targets computer information systems, infrastructures, computer networks, or personal computer devices. An attacker is a person or process that attempts to access data, functions, or other restricted areas of the system without authorization, potentially with malicious intent. Depending on the context, cyber attacks can be part of cyber warfare or cyber terrorism. Cybercrime is a very broad spectrum, which can relate to many different topics. This can range from relatively harmless phishing scams to ransomware that can lock your computer, or worms that can cripple an entire network. This is a serious issue if you are a big corporation with valuable information. Hackers may easily exploit weaknesses in the company's code and find a backdoor into your network or computer. Cybercriminals may use computers to access personal information, business secrets, or use the internet to exploit people for personal gain. Computer or software hacking became a bigger issue than it already was in the 1990s, with Pakistan and India. They started getting involved in cyberspace conflicts. This was a massive deal, as instead of individuals hacking a system, it was a whole country hacking another country for political or economic gain. Now, if you're an average person, you aren't really concerned about the history of the issue. You care about how they get access to your private information. Why do hackers do this? How do I protect myself? How safe is my data? Is it vulnerable to attack? There are a variety of means that hackers may use to get access to your data. If a hacker wants a passcode from a certain site and disable account after a certain number of passcode attempts is off, hacker may use what is known as a brute force attack. The hackers have an algorithm that tests every single letter combination known in the English alphabet, as well as factoring in symbols and numbers. Another way of getting your information, keyloggers have made an appearance in the hacking world. They are often in public places, but may also be on personal computers. It senses which key is hit and sends this information back to the hacker. This may be used to gain access to your passcode. There are many other ways that hackers may get your passcode, but these are the two most common ways. They may use this passcode to exploit you for ransom, or to gain access to your valuable information. Another attack that is commonly used is something called a phishing scam. These phishing scams are also referred to as scam emails. These are often a type of social engineering. This is referring to using human interaction to get one's private information, such as a login password. These messages impersonate companies and ask you for your username and password. When you comply with this and give your username and password, they exploit you for money or use your account to impersonate you while having access to all your personal information. Use a full-service internet security suite like Norton or McAfee to protect yourself from malware and suspicious files. Use strong passwords. Don't repeat your passwords on different sites and change your password regularly. Make sure to make them complex. Keep your software updated. This is especially important with your operating system and internet security software. Cybercriminals frequently use known exploits or flaws in your software to gain access to your system. Patching those exploits and flaws can make it less likely that you'll become a target of cybercrime. Strengthen your home network. It's a good idea to start with a strong encryption password, as well as a virtual private network. A VPN will encrypt all traffic leaving your device until it arrives at its destination. If cybercriminals do manage to hack your communication line, they won't intercept anything but encrypted data. It's also a good idea to use a VPN whenever you're using a public Wi-Fi network, whether it's in a library, cafe, hotel, or airport, as this encrypts the packets being sent around the network. You do not need to use a VPN if you are on a home network, as malware packets are likely not on your home network. Keep up to date on major security breaches. If you do business with a merchant or have an account on a website that's been impacted by a security breach, find out what information the hackers accessed and change your password immediately. Know that identity theft can happen anywhere. It's smart to know how to protect your identity even when traveling. There are a lot of things that you can do to keep criminals from getting your private information on the road. These include keeping your travel plans off social media and using a VPN when accessing the internet over your hotel's Wi-Fi network. Know what to do if you become a victim of cybercrime. If you believe that you've become a victim of cybercrime, you need to alert the local police and in some cases the FBI and Federal Trade Commission. This is important even if the crime seems minor. Your report may assist authorities in their investigation or may help thwart criminals from taking advantage of other people in the future. If you think cybercriminals have stolen your identity, many steps should be considered if you're a victim. One may be contacting the companies and banks where you know fraud occurred. You will want to place fraud alerts and get your credit reports. Now, if you're buying a Windows computer or laptop, your device comes with a built-in virus protector called Windows Defender, and the icon will look like the visual on the screen. If you want more protection and more options for malware removal, you will want to go for the virus package from McAfee or Norton. There are many types of cyber attacks that occur on the surface of the internet, most of which we have discussed previously. Most cybercrimes such as hacking and viruses occur on the surface of the internet, but perhaps the most disturbing part of the internet is the deep dark web. We all have heard horror stories from the dark web like kidnappings, drug stories, and hitmen for hire. But do we really understand what is happening on the dark web? Although web browsers such as Google or Bing seem to make up a large mass of the internet, they only make up the surface of what the internet really is. It is estimated that 96% of the World Wide Web is actually hidden. The surface is the clear web, containing all of the popular websites, social media outlets, and other content that you can access through a search engine. Stretching down to the depths is the deep web, which is all databases and documents that are only accessible through an individual site's internal indexing system, meaning that this data is only accessible through local computers that are not connected to the internet. Finally, on the underbelly of the berg is the dark web, a small but significant section only accessible through specialized software and search engines. This specialized search engine is the Tor browser. This is an online web browser that hides one's identity through disguising their IP address. Tor is basically a hidden network that ensures your data path is never the same, as it uses up to 5,000 requests at a time to send data. The amount of security and encryption that Tor provides makes it the main way to access the deep web. Tor was originally developed by the US Navy to protect sensitive US government communications, although they had to open it up to everyone in order for their messages to become untraceable. There are many things you can do on the dark web. You could buy credit card numbers, all manner of drugs, guns, counterfeit money, stolen subscription credentials, hacked Netflix accounts, and software that helps you break into other people's computers. A lifetime Netflix premium account goes for $6. You can hire hackers to attack computers for you. You can buy usernames and passwords. You can buy human flesh, or even buy clothes made from human flesh, such as shoes that go for $14,000, as well as buying organs. You can even go as far as hiring a hitman who will take out anyone for a price. The dark web in general is not a place you should go, as police are getting better at tracking criminals on the dark web, so just browsing an illegal website could run the risk of getting in trouble. In March of 2019, police in the USA, Europe, and Canada led a sting operation that led to the arrest of 61 people illegally using the dark web. They confiscated 300 kilograms of drugs, 51 firearms, and over 7 million US dollars, two-thirds in virtual currency such as Bitcoin. After all data may be intercepted by anyone, anywhere in the world. It all depends on how experienced the hacker is. According to revisionslegal.com, from January 2018 to June, there had been 658 cyber attacks alone. That's just in the first half of 2018. This isn't counting for the rest. Possibly the biggest hack or act of cybercrime that happened during this time was the MyFitnessPal slash Under Armour food and nutrition app and website that directly affected 150 million users. You give your username and passcode to a service or website, but if that website's information is hacked, your information could end up in the wrong hands. When you give your personal information to a website, you're entrusting your email, username, and passcode. Sometimes you also trust the company with sensitive financial information, such as credit card numbers. If this website is hacked, then your information could be at risk. In conclusion, after all you've learned about this information, do you believe your data is safe with websites or social media accounts such as Snapchat or Instagram? Do you think that your data is susceptible to a data breach? In the world we live in today, we truly have no idea if our data will be stolen and if our confidential information will be leaked. So, if you don't want to be hacked, make sure to use a password that's more complex. Use a VPN while on a non-secure network. Use a malware defender such as McAfee or Windows Defender, and remember not to give out classified information such as credit card information or your mother's maiden name, as this can be used to hack into your account through security questions.